Good evening and welcome to the Galaxy's Edge podcast. My name is Walt, and this is our semi-monthly, semi-weekly. What? I got nothing. This is our regularly scheduled Galaxy's Edge wide podcast. Today we are joined by a very energetic and paracord-free panel. Now that Rookie is out of the basement. Where we're going to be talking about everything in and around Galaxy's Edge, the amazing book series by series creator Jason Anspach and Nick Cole. To start off the panel, on my right, I have Mr. Swordfish, a.k.a. Daniel. How are you, sir?
Fantastic.
After that marathon session today, we have J.R. Hanley.
Good evening.
We have Wadib.
G'day, team.
What was that in English?
Greetings, dancers of the gentle around the table.
One of these days, he's going to come up with like signs, and it's going to be like translations of what he's saying. We have Rookie.
Bad word, Badger. Yep. Paracord is to be referred to as fun rope from here on out. Good
fun
word.
Rope, 550 cord. Do your thing. And then Dark Ops Insider 1442 Q. How are you, sir?
Good. My name is Max.
Max, right on. Okay, we'll try not to let that slip past censors. So going with our usual show format, Daniel, what's been going on in Discord?
I am the king. I have full control. Let me see. Matt, what do you think is... have you been looking at all?
A little bit, not overly much. I've got projects and shit I've been working on lately, so unfortunately I have not been sitting around in there much, but I'd say PC gaming is actually going quite hard at the moment.
You've been slamming pretty hard on PlanetSide 2.
Sure have.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Well, I'm a PlanetSide fan, long-time PlanetSide fan, and I got back into it. My original account got deleted for inactivity. That's like $300 worth of transactions gone, which sucks. What else to say? Yeah, and I ran a giveaway on Facebook in the Galaxy Edge fan group for my stream last night. If you could kill me in game, you win a free copy of Bannerlord 2. Not a single person got close.
So does that mean you keep the copy?
Oh no, it's still live. The offer is still there until someone gets me.
Oh really? So
except you can't use what character was it?
You can't be the same team. You can't team kill.
Oh, I gotcha. So this is an open challenge to the Galaxy's Edge community.
Sure is.
Basically, you're just like, bring it, bitches, and then drop the microphone.
Essentially it. Find me in PlanetSide 2, service called Connery. If you can kill me and provide a screenshot, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord on Steam is yours.
Nice. The what's that?
Additionally, people have been talking a lot about Savage Wars. They're finishing up the books, and there's a lot of talk in the Savage Wars chat.
So there's this huge rift right now in the Galaxy's Edge community as far as Savage Wars go between people who really loved Gods and Legionnaires and people who really didn't like it. What do you guys think of a lot of that talk going around?
So for me, I think it depends on how they perceived the book as it went. Because I know during the Gods section, I know the authors were aiming for insanity to an extent, which is cool. But from a storytelling perspective, for me, I felt some parts drew on a little bit longer, but I understand it. And it works. It works for the story. And when you get to the middle part or the end part of the God section, it's really fantastic. Like it's popping off. Yeah. You got really cool stuff going on. And then the very last section of it just wraps all that up in a nice little present. And then you unwrap it like, oh, I understand it all now. So yeah, I can see why some people are frustrated with it. But overall, I think it's a fantastic book. You know.
Yeah, I finished it. I want to say like a few weeks ago, and going through. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. And going through it,
except Walt muted himself.
Again?
Yeah, it happens every show.
He meant to mute me. Sorry, I opened up a can of beer and then my refrigerator went off, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm making all the noise."
Go ahead, Q. Hit us.
No, that's fine. So going through it, I can kind of understand why the rift kind of exists, because it lacks a lot of the normal like high speed action that we normally read in quite a few of the books. But at the same time, where the book the God section goes through a lot of exposition, it's necessary, because even though it was hard for me to read, I ain't gonna lie, it's necessary because you don't know anything of the savages. And like Swordfish said, that basically you have to portray their insanity in the most minutia of way possible, and every little thing that they do is regulated, is governed, is dictated. Bad thought, and that has to be portrayed in the way that it is, the way that it was written. Although it was rough to read, but it told you a lot of information. And if you sat through it and listened to it or read it, whatever the case was, it highlighted quite a bit of chunks of the Galaxy's Edge lore in the other books where they may have touched on. So it was, you kind of have to take it as it is and then look at the bigger picture and see how it kind of, as a puzzle piece, fits in there.
I could agree with a lot on that. Especially the part where it's the exposition. The exposition goes on for a very long time.
Oh God!
And that's something that like Nick Cole especially like specializes in. And I had talked especially in Afterlife and whatnot about like Soda Pop Soldier and Pop Cult Warlord, those two books that he wrote. And Soda Pop Soldier wasn't as like social commentary heavy. I mean, it definitely was, but not as much real world social commentary heavy as Pop Cult Warlord, the sequel. But people had warned me. They were like, if you enjoyed those two books, you're going to love Gods and Legionnaires. And I'm about halfway through. I'm only about halfway through the book. And I won't spoil anything, but a lot of like the good thought, bad thought kind of stuff that Maestro is implementing. And he's these weird like red flag kind of moments that you have with the narration. It's like that is something that Nick Cole definitely had to specialize in. And I think as far as the rift goes and readers, I think that some people just I think that there's, and I've been seeing this a lot in all things outside of just media and whatnot. But like you have, I mean, a few years ago there's like the big social justice movements, and then you have the anti-social justice movements and things like that. You got a bunch of different YouTubers saying different things to each other, and it's like, and I think by this point a whole lot of people are just kind of like, I am so sick of hearing everything. Yeah, but what's funny is with this book, it takes like a few good hours before you even hear the words social and justice put in the same sentence. By the point, like from the beginning, like from the first couple of hours, you don't even hear social justice at all. You just basically hear a whole bunch of things that just sound really Orwellian, and they sound like classic. It sounds like classic Orwellian sci-fi for a long time, if you know what I mean, where it's just like, where everything is, like you said, everything is governed and everything is regulated. Like every single thought is regulated, like good word, good thought, bad thought. And that's just, and everything is like orchestrated from an AI from like the overseeing, the overlord AI is regulating everything that is good. And the book doesn't really veer you in any direction. It just starts you off in this sort of sci-fi, kind of this Orwellian sci-fi setting where the character really thinks he's just in a video game. You know what I mean? And it's not something that like it didn't just out of the gates start trying to push you in one direction or the other. But I think a lot of people are so tired with it that they are trying to just get away from political speak like altogether. So when they start to hear it, they're like, I'm done. Like I can't. Like I know where this is going. And then they just kind of give up on the story, which is kind of sad, I think.
Well, you got some people that really liked it, some people that really didn't like it for various reasons. Matt, did you have something you wanted to add?
I will say that. Oh, Matt.
You're not Matt.
No, I'm not Matt.
You can
Wait
be non
a minute.
if you want, mate.
Yeah, wait. If you're gonna do Matt, you got to do it in an Australian accent.
Good, mate. Crikey. And then I have a bunch of cuss words, which I won't say.
No, you failed. No. Go ahead, Matt.
All right. I am in the other category where I still enjoyed it, but I was not a huge fan of the God section. I enjoy Mind Screw. I really do. I love things that make my brain go mush or think, but just couldn't get into it. I guess I'm just a hard hitter. Like that's why I like the second half and also the 100 significantly more. I'm a hard hitter. I like, yeah. I'm not saying I'm dumb or stupid, but I see gun go shoot, thing die. It makes me happy.
Gun go boom.
But no, look, seriously, it was well written. I couldn't get into it, but it did provide some pretty awesome insight into our lovely friends over on the Savage side.
Right. Now, what did for those of you who have listened to it, what did you guys think of Stephen Lang?
Oh,
more.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
I love that man's voice.
So Rookie mentioned the political side of things, and I just want you to know that here at the Galaxy's Edge, we want to support your political ideology. So at the Galaxy's Edge store on their merch section, you can buy bumper stickers to support your favorite political movement. So you can support Article 15 and cleanse the galaxy of the House of Republicans.
Article 19, JR. Article 15 is what you get when you drink and drive.
See, I had a few of those too. Not drinking and driving, but just the Article 15 part. Celebrated my promotions a little too much, but anyway. So you can buy your Article 19 merch at the store, or bumper stickers to support Goth Solids for president.
The Article 15 is what I got earlier today.
Pretty much.
I listened to. I have the audiobook and I listened to him, and I thought God, I can't remember the name of the actor. It's an old actor, but he has a very like old English type of accent. But he played Dracula way back in the day. I can't think of it. I think I tweeted out about it. But anyway, he silky smooth. I thought it was fantastic. However, I did have some issue. I'm used to listening to Rex with Ray Porter, and I love the way he did Rex.
Oh, Christopher Lee, by the way.
Huh?
Was that the old dude talking about Christopher Lee?
Not Christopher Lee. I know who you're talking about, but it wasn't him. It was one. He hosted like a show, like a horror show at some point. You
talking about Jonathan Myers?
That may be it. That name sounds familiar. But now it's gonna bug me. I'm gonna remember it like a week from now. I swear to God. Although the way he did Rex was pretty good. I have no complaints about it. I like Ray Porter's version of it better. R.C. Bray is very good overall, but we can't have him anymore. But overall, like he did phenomenal in the book. You could tell he had a little bit of a learning curve in the first one. By the time he got to the second book, much better.
Right on. Did you guys, Matt? Did you have something to say? I'm sorry, I think I interrupted.
The right Matt, not the wrong Matt.
Yeah, no more. I just want more. it's always an exciting prospect when you have someone famous do this sort of stuff. I was still on the fence and skeptical before I heard him. I was like, it's could either go really well or really bad. Thankfully, it was excellent, and he pulled it off quite well. I want some more. So.
Right on. Yeah. He.
I think they should have gotten Gilbert Godfrey to do the God section.
Oh God!
You really got
bad thought. Bad word.
He would go from normal voice to all of a sudden bad thought.
You're hearing it, aren't you?
I would listen.
Oh, he's back there. We go.
All right.
How's my mic?
Oh, gloriously loud as always.
Read out. He said, read out full sentence.
like
uninterrupted to test your mic. Read out full sentence somewhere like, where's a full sentence to copy and paste?
So say JR is awesome and he's absolutely correct. I agree with everything he says.
JR is the best author ever. He is better than Jason Onspach and Nick Cole combined.
How about I just give him a stroke test sentence just to be on the safe side?
No, we don't want no, there are underlying issues there. So, Daniel, we were what do you call it? Talking about the kind of like the mini split of the fan community as far as like Gods and Legionnaires goes, because some people really liked it, some people weren't too keen on it. What'd you think?
Excuse me.
Vincent Price, that's who it was. Sorry, don't mean to interrupt you guys. Vincent Price, that's who he sounded like from the second book on. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, like I said earlier, I think it was just the beginning part of Gods that kind of is what created that big divide that you're talking about. It was hard to get into for some people, but I liken it back to a situation I had with one of Orson Scott Card's books, and that was Xenocide. So I get to the middle part of Xenocide, and I actually, first time ever, I Googled, is it worth finishing this book? Does this get better? And people are like, yeah, it does get better. Just stick with it. And, when I got past all the characters doing stupid, scat and just driving me up the wall with their making, I guess, drama or whatever, it actually did turn out to be a good book. So I kind of use that as an example for, like, okay, I'm not a fan of this part, but I know it's gonna change or it'll work out somehow. And for Gods and Legionnaires, it does. It's not supposed to be comfortable, because this is also, like was said before, it's supposed to be a dive into the madness that is savagery, and that's what I believe Nick and Jason were going for. So, yeah, my advice to anybody is stick with it. Slug on through that side, and then you're gonna see how it all wraps up, and you'll like it. It's a solid book.
Yeah, it definitely pays off in the end.
Right on.
And Tyrus Rex sucks.
Was everybody in agreement though that the 100 was just like a really great way to finish up that series?
Sweet baby.
I haven't touched it yet. I'm halfway through Gods, and I just haven't touched it yet.
The one thing about this series that I'm really
eager though.
What's that?
I said I'm really eager though, because I saw the cover. I know it's like, don't judge a book by its cover, but like I saw the cover and I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be good." No, right? This needs to be in my collection,
dude. It does not disappoint. Trust me.
Yeah. The one thing I really enjoyed about this series was there was always that moment that you hoped would come. You kind of knew it was on the horizon, but then when it still came, you were still just as excited as if you didn't expect it. Like Colonel Marks, dropping the act in the first book.
That was slick.
Right. The ending of the second book.
I'll just say this right now. I knew what Marks, like, for some reason, Marks just to me was like, that's an alias. I don't know why. That just feels weird. I don't know who this guy is.
It. Keep it all on the inside, brother.
Yeah. I was like, but it was also just the way. I think it was also a good part of it was how Stephen Lang was performing the characters. That just gave me more and more. That just kept on twisting the vibra knife a bit. Where I was like, yeah, it's got to be, but it was perfect. The way the whole thing went through was perfect.
Right, but then in the second book you had that big reveal, and then in the third book you had somebody show up who we had seen in the first two books, and you didn't think you were going to see anymore, and suddenly they're there, and that was pretty cool. JR, did you have something to add?
Yeah, as I say, as much as I liked the way the 100 played out, I'm definitely going to go listen to the series again. I wouldn't say no to a fourth book either.
Really?
Maybe some more Stephen Lang. I just like his narration. I think it works. Any excuse to listen to some more.
Right on. So, if we were to get enough signatures together and get the boys to do a second series as like a different part of the Savage Wars, because I mean the Savage Wars spans 1,500 years. I mean they've probably fought a battle or two after the Battle of New Vega.
There's story there to be
maybe
told.
Maybe like a Chronicles, like kind of
several short
kind of
stories
like
all strung together.
like like an anthology of Savage Wars stories. That'd be awesome.
There's almost unlimited potential in the series. Like,
right?
You've got that much you can work with, and so I mean, we're never going to say no to more Galaxy's Edge. Let's face it. Despite what people may think about certain parts of books or certain books, none of us are going to say no to more Galaxy's Edge. Let's be real here, ladies and gents.
Sorry, go ahead.
I will fight you, boy. But
I will
anyways,
paracord your ass.
You sure got a party mile.
I was gonna say, is Stephen Lang is he a normal Twitter user, or is he not do that much?
He bounces on Twitter every once in a while. When
does he respond a lot?
He does, surprisingly, especially.
He's verified. I know that much, at least.
Yeah, he is a verified user. He does respond a lot to his fans. He's a big even because he's 64, 65 now, and he still routinely hits the gym like every day. And one of the big things he does is after his gym workout, he'll sit there and jump on Twitter and just talking to people. And what ends up happening is a lot of people talk to him about his workouts and stuff like that. But then when people start getting him talking about roles, that's usually when he's the most open, is when he's, he just hit the gym. So, but yeah, he's usually pretty good to respond to a lot of fans. So I'm sure if people hit him up, I know he was. Go ahead, please.
I was about to say, if he's active, then if you guys really did like the Savage Wars series, while
tag
listening to it, tag him and say, hey, thank you for this, because then he can see that we do enjoy his contribution to our community and what he did for the Galaxy's Edge universe.
Oh, hell yeah. He was very prolific a few years ago when they were casting for Deadpool 2. A lot of the community wanted him to be Cable.
Oh my god,
that would have been perfect.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So Stephen Lang's son is also on Twitter and is very prolific, and he was basically spearheading the campaign to get Stephen to be Cable. So I mean, I know I was having like pom fangirl moments all over the place because Stephen Lang is like the shit. So, but yeah, I think we'd love to see some more stories in the Savage Wars, because I mean, with 1,500 years of like direct confrontation with these people, there's got to be a lot of stories to choose from.
Dude, that is.
So I'm just gonna put this out there. If Stephen Lang wants to make his own little indie film in his backyard during the quarantine, I will mail him my bucket. I'm just gonna put that out.
Right on. Well, you need to mail him a Dark Ops bucket because
he can paint it black. I'll repaint
he can paint it black. All right, got it. So this brings us to our featured insider for this show, who is Q. So Q, who are you, and what's on your wanted poster?
My name
I didn't expect this.
I know, right? I'm like, Name is Max, and my most wanted poster. I don't have a whole lot right now, actually. Come to think of it.
Right on. Well,
I'll make you one.
Huh?
What do you do?
I said I'll make you one. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So, what do you do besides consume Galaxy's Edge content?
Oh, well, I am a... Best way I can explain it, I'm an automation engineer. I make stuff work on its own.
So you're responsible for the sidebar.
Pretty much. What's funny enough is that I'm actually interested in the sidebar, and any story AI related, I'm kind of like sucked into. So
Don't you
things
even
that work
start
on their own.
Swordfish?
Huh?
Sorry.
I didn't see anything.
So what kind of systems do you automate? Like what do you make work on its own? I mean, are we talking like Roomba or autonomous tank?
No, none of that stuff. Well, actually, funny enough, where I work at right now, it's basically anything and everything. Whatever I can get my hands on, I learn with the quickness, and I code it to be completely and totally automated from end to end. So it's just a matter of what do I not understand.
So my question is, you basically hook onto whatever you can to get autonomous. Are you making AI to do that?
We're not quite working at that level. It's basically plugging in way more cogs than needed to be plugged in, but the cogs are all powered and they work on their own.
All right, yeah,
that's like that then.
Yeah, Matt is a big fan of AI, so we like to find out these answers for him.
we're not quite at that level. That's a couple of pay grades above me.
So for a second there, when you said, it's funny that you say that. For a second there, I thought you were going to talk about putting an auto turret on a Roomba, which
that would be awesome.
I support that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, no, that has crossed my mind before.
Did you see where someone automated the Roomba so that way every time it bumped into a wall, it would start cussing? Like they somehow rigged it with voice?
Yes. Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Oh God! There was also the one where they got it so that every time it bumped into something, it shot the mounted Glock on top. Did you see that one?
No, but
yes, I posted that in the segment.
The funny one was this woman and her kid were home alone, and she thought that someone was breaking into her house, so they deployed SWAT, and it was her 3 Roombas for her house somehow congregated in the bathroom and closed the door, and they were running into each other, and I guess it sounded like something legit scary enough that even SWAT opened fire.
That's fantastic.
Did you?
How the robot uprising starts.
The guy that made that Roomba that goes and every time it gets bumped into, it screams obscenity. He also made a hand-controlled surgery table. So it's like got gears and servos and everything. So you just hover your hand over this 3D camera, and then you can move the tool, the appendage, and he's like, yeah, it works great. It's better than the Da Vinci thing. And he puts it over his dummy and then just starts stabbing this knife into it.
That's terrible.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
So, Q, have you read the whole series?
Yes, I've powered through the entire series, all of Tyrus Rex Contracts and Terminations, The Best of Us, The Savage Wars. I haven't done the offshoots yet.
Which offshoots? You talking Karen Travis's book?
No, not that one. The Order of Centurion.
Oh, right on.
Reservist and Into the Nether. Yeah, I haven't done those yet.
Like any of the Order of the Centurion books, like any of them.
No, none of them. I haven't done any of them yet.
Okay, you're in for a treat. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh, that's always a good thing. No, my entry to the series was kind of weird because I started with Karen Travis.
Really?
Best of Us.
Oh, wow,
that's Matt's favorite book.
Oh, and here's the thing, though. My wife loves the Gears of War series, right? And they're all written by Karen Travis. And once I saw the name, I'm like, dope. I need to go get that book. And so I picked it up. You're like gushing over there, Swordfish.
I was sending that to Matt, but yes, I do love The Best of Us. It's actually a really good book.
Oh my God, it was a phenomenal book.
Matt has gone on record as to saying that he might not be as big a fan of The Last of Us or The Best of Us.
The century.
Well, you know, now that you like said what you did about exposition and gods, I'm kind of skeptical because I did enjoy the exposition and gods, but so now I have to check out Best of Us because previously I didn't really like Karen Travis's writing. Majorly, I'm biased just because of how she handled the Halo, the Kilo 5 trilogy. I was like a little bit disappointed by that, but I know she's a good writer because she handled like the Republic Commando stuff for Star Wars, and I was like,
yeah, look, I am a fan of her works. I like her old stuff a lot. I do actually like her as a writer and her stuff. For the story of The Best of Us, advancement wise, for lore, I'll accept that in the sense that it was okay. I would. Not to say I wish I didn't buy it. I want to support the authors and everything, but I wish I'd never read it. I'm going to put it on the record. I'm sorry, Karen, Jason, Nick. I'm sorry, but I couldn't.
So
it has nothing to do with my personal belief in AI or anything either. It has nothing to do with my personal belief. I just could not enjoy it. I'm sorry.
So you like, I have to say. Yeah, you like The Best of Us, Q. What else did you like about it?
For kind of like what Matt said, actually, the fact that it tied it with, and I didn't realize this until like I got done with the book. I'm like, this is interesting. This is an interesting take on how the end of the world can happen. Okay, where it's not just one thing. We don't just go out in one bang. It's several small bangs that just ruin everybody's day. And the interesting part was it was laid out so far into the future, so we already had so many advancements, so it's like, why couldn't we fix things ahead of time? No, it was the buffoonery of government, which was even more apparent in the book. But towards the end, when they made first contact, that was actually quite cool how she wrote that in with the story. And how they kind of lightly touched the light huggers, but they also lightly touched on the fact that the light huggers themselves were basically private ships, right? And that gave you an idea. You're like, all right, man, that means that the loonies of the loonies are the ones that ended up there in the first place. But it was definitely a nice entry, in my opinion, into the series, because I had seen it in my feed in Audible for God knows how long. I'm like, maybe I should do it, maybe not. And I saw Karen Travis, got it, and then for some reason, Tyrus Rex cover. I'm like, done. I had to read this one next.
Right on. So, what was the second book that you read?
The second one was Tyrus Rex. Actually, that one was just Contracts and Terminations. It was the
Requiem for Medusa.
That one, thank you. I can never remember the name. Requiem for Medusa. That one was a tearjerker. That one got me in the feels, man.
Right on. Just onion cutting ninjas all over that one.
Oh my God, that one. Like, I felt for the man. Like, I really, really felt for the man. But his, like, you always hear about characters like that John Wick style of character, right? He was just another level of just, I'm going to not only ruin your day, not only the rest of your life, but your entire generation. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So from then on out, like, it got me hooked. His character.
I like this guy.
His character got me hooked from then on out. And then I read all of his books from there. And then at that point, I got sucked into the lore. Now I needed to know more. I wanted more of his history, his past. Why is he so old? And so on and so forth. The other book that Chasing the Dragon. That was another tearjerker. That one got me in the feels as well. But Jesus Christ. Like,
the ending of that book?
Oh, God. That was just ridiculous.
So do you have a favorite character?
Rex is by far my favorite character. Only because I can relate to how he handles things. It's one of those type of guys that I just, if I can't find somebody to fix it, I'm just going to do it myself. Okay. If I can't find a solution to the problem, I'm going to make the solution to the problem. I really don't care about what anybody else has to say about it. I'm just going to do it. And if somebody doesn't like it, I really don't care. And so, granted, his problem solving was at a much grander scale and with much more lethality, but I could relate to him. I could really sit there and be like, yes, that's exactly how I would have handled that situation.
Right on. The as far as like characters go, do you have a favorite secondary character?
Favorite secondary character? I would be, golly, really?
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, hey, Romy.
Anyways,
there's so many of them. Keel cracks me up because I can't stop laughing every time his dialogue pops up. Like, it's just he's Ryan Reynolds. I hear him in his voice every time Keel pops up.
Yes, 100%.
That's an interesting. I would have considered him a more of a main character. When I think like secondary, I'm thinking like Pappy, he wasn't with us for long, or maybe like the Major Thale, the cannon
artillery.
doctor.
Yep.
Yeah, the arty guy on the moon. Like that's what I think. Or I don't know. Mombasa sort of skirts it for me, but I liked him too.
Yeah, I couldn't attach myself to Mombasa. Really, if anything, like Ravi, I just liked Ravi. I can't think of really anybody else.
Ravi's fantastic.
So what was it about Mombasa you couldn't attach yourself to?
I don't know. Like it's like his resolve, was just kind of wishy-washy. Like he was dedicated to whatever cause it was, but whatever cause was placed in front of him, and he thought, whether he had moral obligation to it or not. And so his consistency wasn't there. Like with every other character.
Well, he did have a consistency. His consistency was he did not want to go to that crap hole planet he came from. He never wanted to return.
This is true. But like with every other character, there was like the universal constant of an idea that they had in their head of how they wanted to live. With Mombasa, he was pissed off enough with the Republic that he just was like, you know what? F this. And then, granted, he went somewhere else, but he didn't think for a second, this guy is pretty shady as it is, both literally and figuratively. Would it be best if I join this group or not? Why is he, like bombing planets and killing innocents? So it's one of those things where I start to question his thought process, right? And so it just didn't hook me like as a character very well. And then towards the end, when he started he started helping Keel out, it's like, it seemed more like opportunistic at that point.
All right.
Sorry, I kind of connected a little bit with Mombasa because like there's a part where he's talking about how he was on his old jungle home world and he was like, and like Dan, was that you that was saying that? How he was like, he just didn't want to return to that hellish home world.
No, it wasn't me. I think it was Hanley, right?
It was Hanley,
It was the other.
Yeah. I only just got back in here. My browser decided to backhand me. But I kind of got that where it's like, yeah, he lived in a harsh environment, then was like, all right, whatever, this is my new thing, which was Legion. And then the Legion screwed him over, and then Black Fleet was his new thing. And then Black Fleet at one point kind of screwed him over too. And what's funny is like I've said this in the Facebook group where I was like, when they were talking about, hey, what actors would you cast for Galaxy's Edge characters? And I was like, there's this guy from this TV show called The Blacklist that I always said, like, I'm like, dude, it has to be Hisham Tawfiq, because this guy, the guy who plays like Dembe from The Blacklist.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Who's ever seen that shit? I love him. First off, I love him as an actor, and second, his character is like my favorite in that entire show. But it's also like he kind of seems like that sort of character. Like he seems like a Bombassa kind of character.
I know who you're talking about now. I agree. Yeah,
yeah.
He would be.
He like kind of he. It's just that it's not so much as like he is like wishy-washy on like his ideals or his morals. It's just that so much goes on in the galaxy where he's like not really sure where he fits in to all of it, in all of like the grand plan, if you will, where he's just like, he goes like, this happened, so I veered this way. Well, then they went ahead and did that. Now it's like, oh God, I don't want to be with them, so let's try going back this way.
I always thought the guy that was in the Green Mile, I can't remember the actor's name.
Oh, Michael Clark Duncan, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Yes,
he could have done it. He could have pulled it off as an actor and just the body type.
Oh, that would have been great. I would pay.
Yeah.
So
good man.
Yeah, I'm looking at some glitches in the blaster points. You know anything about that, Swordfish?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No? Okay. Yeah. that you have some weirdness going on.
Oh, hey, Matt.
Hello.
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
We think Swordfish was sabotaging you. We're not going to go into specifics. So, Q, what would you like to see happen in season 2?
Season 2, more. God, they killed Bowie. I'm so mad about that.
Careful. Spoilers, bro.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
That's okay. He'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Those who listen on live, you just got shafted.
Yeah, I'll have to edit it, and then it's funny because I edited a video the other day that was a longer form video for us, and it came out of the machine at 2 gigs, and then after I edited it the first time, it was like 11.
Jesus.
Yeah, and you upload it in 480p.
I had to upload it in 480p, otherwise it would have broke the internet.
Oh my God. Really, continue on with Nilo, Carter, and the group. Really, I want to know more what's going on with Nilo.
Oh yeah.
I do want to see. I want to see what's going on with Soul, because
especially after the ending of Takeover, right?
Oh my God, that was fantastic. Takeover, hands down, is like my favorite book in the main series, right? Because I like Carter's point of view. I enjoyed not only the character, just the way it was written as a whole. I loved it. And the whole thing with Nilo, the thing that actually, outside of Nilo, the thing that in the entire series that has been scratching my head is, why hasn't anybody gone back to Soul? And why is it that it's in 1, no galactic map, 2, nobody knows the address of it. It's like everybody came from the same house. Oh, we forgot we came from 123 West Street. What? That doesn't just happen, okay? And so that's an interesting twist, I think. And so that's kind of what I'm excited to see in the series, and I want to see more in the series. I want to see more of a return to Soul, return to the motherland, so to speak.
Now, we're just talking speculation and predictions here. Do you think the Soul system is full of savages, or do you think it's something totally new we haven't seen yet?
I think, well, in the context of savages as what they are, what they were, not what they ended up being, I would say yes, in my opinion. Yeah, because there wouldn't be anything that would lead me to believe that the planet was just clean, and then all of a sudden, new life just popped up over there. The only thing I could think of is just they never left. They stayed, and they just continued on pushing technology for the next 2,000 plus years. And they were like, yeah, we're just cool here in our little solar system. We ain't gonna go anywhere. So that's what I'm thinking. That's probably what's gonna happen. But
I like the speculation. I like the speculation that Utopian was Earth and they just didn't know it. I don't think it's going to be the story, but I just think it'd be kind of a cool twist.
Oh. The Utopian destroyed. Oh, it was Earth. Oops.
I feel like there isn't anything to lead us to that.
Well,
like personally, I think at this point, Soul would probably be something like in the show, was it The 100, where there's a handfuls of like people who are pretty well off, but most people are just like gone primitive, pretty much.
Now, Matt, you had something to say on this too, right?
I love the concept of a lost Earth. It's been prevalent in a few specific. I hate that word sometimes. A specific few book series that I read. I love that concept of the Earth is gone or completely lost, or you can't get back to it, and you wonder what's happened. That's what I want to see. I really am expecting Earth to be this absolute juggernaut planet. The entire solar system just completely reinforced. That's what I'm expecting for this. Like, for them to go back and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, bro, we've had all these years to advance. Here's 1 million warships. You're dead.
The Emperor of Man lives there.
The Emperor of Man? Oh, yeah. Now you're going Warhammer 40K on us. I see how it is.
Oh, praise God, Emperor.
Take that with the crux.
You walk in, wait, these are some really big fucking armor.
Right?
Yeah, as old mate said down there, as long as they don't do Battlestar Galactica, I agree. I love that. I love the RDM, the 2004 series. The ending, it left a lot to be decided, but the 2020.
They never ended it. What are you talking about?
Well, I'd like to believe, but the new series coming out in a couple of months or the early next year is going to be pretty good. I hope for that sake. So,
because they're spinning it off of the original, right? Well, not the original, but the remake.
Yeah, the remake. It's a whole new spin-off for it. It's going to be heaps good.
Mars is just one big metal ball.
I just hope no space angels, because I can't do it.
Yeah.
So let's get into the news a little bit. Obviously, the 100 released in print on Tuesday, and we had a pretty glorious insider webinar with Jason and Nick. A lot of cool questions asked and answered, and there was some fun times to be had. We had another marathon session today with gaming legend James Ward and some of the insiders, as well as Sergeant Bulls, Nick Cole, playing Metamorphosis Alpha with game creator James Ward. What'd you think, JR and Swordfish? You guys were in on that hop.
For some reason, it's contagious, and we all sound like we're from Jersey Shore. I don't know what's going on.
It's true. It's
all Nick Paul. He started it.
It's because you copied what Badger, his natural, accent is, and then you're like, look, I'm gonna be like Badger.
So what happened was, right, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out what kind of accent I was going to use in this stupid thing, right? So I throw this like little Jersey thing going on, and all of a sudden everybody's talking like that. So I'm just thinking, holy shit, we're from Jersey.
Armpit of the galaxy.
Everybody starts fist bumping and everything. Just
my god!
Do I have to join in to add a Sin-Asian flair to this?
Yes. And the other thing I was going,
what the fuck?
Why you do that?
I told you, you're so crazy.
Oh my god!
I swear he's not loud.
Only you can get away with
it. This does bring up a point. I know Paladin is going to be off next Friday, so we could technically, if it's okay with Jim Ward, we could swap Paladin out for Ronan for that session.
Oh my god, that would be hysterical! And then you could clean up our accent problem, because the other alternative is my family is from Italy, so I could do that accent and really screw some people up. Yeah, and I spent a couple of years in the Philippines, and I could copy that one pretty well too. So
that is a
between Ronan and I think what's that?
That is a path I will not follow you down.
But what we could do is Ronan and I could just sit there and bounce back and forth in different accents every time we talk. Just keep changing our accents. Really mess you guys up.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was a fun session. Besides the fact that Windows was messing up my entire computer to the point where I couldn't even stay in there for like the middle part. But when I got back in, it was fun to see how Sergeant Bowles kept breaking things, and then Paladin would be like, "Okay, I guess I'll try to fix it." Gets shocked, and then Badger's sitting there like, "All right, come on, here's some smelling salts. Let's get you back up and going." All right, I'm gonna go back and fix it again.
So I was never into like role playing games as a younger kid. I was too busy playing baseball and chasing girls. I didn't say I was successful. All right, so don't give me that luck. But
well, I mean, we kind of also see the after effect of you chasing girls
Yeah.
I gave up.
Anyway, so I didn't start playing until I was older, mostly because in a Navy town, everyone's moving anyway. Because my son is interested, and so this was like my second session today of having played a role-playing game, and it was a lot of fun. So I definitely see potential, but I could see I don't know, what do you call it? A system, I guess would be the word, where you could factor in more of the squad tactics. Like there's penalty if you don't take cover, if you don't think tactically. A little bit more factoring that in, and I don't know how you do it because, like I said, I'm a noob, but I could see room to actually develop. Do you guys remember that squad-based Xbox game where that was the whole point? I'm drawing a blank now. But there have been a couple of like actual video games where you control a squad and you have to like place them behind cover and set in World War II.
Oh, Brothers in Arms.
Yes, that one.
Heroes?
Something Brothers in Arms, something along that where that actually factors into the gameplay could be a lot of fun.
I would love to have somebody do a mod of Army of Two, the old shooter with the dudes with the hockey masks on, right?
Oh yeah.
Do a mod of Army of Two, right? And instead of the two main characters, have it be Doc and Chappie.
Dude, yeah.
That would.
But yeah, I think that it could be a lot of fun if we could factor that in even more. Not that this wasn't fun, but just as we expand things.
Right on.
And there was enough interest. I hope that we do more of these.
There seems to be. It seems to be a popular series that Nick and Jason are really interested in promoting. And speaking of promoting things, you got something in the mail, didn't you, JR?
I did. So about 2 years ago, I contracted with the Iron Forge Orlando. At the time, it was just the Iron Forge LLC. Some family issues came up on his part, so he approached me and he said, "Hey, look, this could be a while before I finish. I could give you your money back, or instead of paying the follow-on, because it was $250 down, and then there was going to be some payment at completion. It's been long enough ago, I don't remember what that was going to be, and it was a one-off." He approached me and said, "Hey, I'd like to finish." And so I got this past week the actual bucket that I ordered, which is sitting gloriously on my desk. It does not fit, but the Iron Forge uses a one-size-fits-all approach, which fits most people, not me. Never has. So it's sitting there as a very gloriously sexy decoration. I bought a little helmet mount for it. It's sitting on my desk.
So you don't got a bucket. You would need a 50-gallon drum.
Pretty much, but it fit my wife and it fit my sons, and they're already like wanting to wrestle off for who gets to keep it in their room. I'm like, no, kid, I got this. It's mine. It's Daddy's toy. You leave it alone. But it looks glorious. I did an unboxing video and did a video where you could see it around outside in the daylight, and I sent that to Walt, who in his copious free time, so maybe 2027 when his calendar is free, he will edit that and we'll throw it up on the Galaxy's Edge YouTube page so you guys can see it.
The unboxing video?
Yeah, the one I sent you.
I thought it was all set.
Well, I was in the impression that you thought it needed more editing. I don't know. I'm not an expert at that stuff.
I'll take a look at it again. I wouldn't worry too hard. Look at that glorious bucket.
I was infantry for a reason,
Right?
So sexy. Look at it.
Oh right? Man, you see that? You saw those nudes in his camera roll?
Those are actually just messages back and forth with Walt and I, so I trust me. There's no news.
Excited, mate.
Although, what's that right there? That might be a nude. I got nothing.
I'm not going to comment.
So beyond the buckets, if you're an insider, check your email because it went out today that Dark Ops 2 just came out, written by a pretty famous member of the gun and shooter community, Mr. Doc Spears. So check that out if you're an insider. That went into your email today, and they Jason and Nick are working on the cover now, and it should be like any minute now. So last item on the Spiral news is something about feet pics. So which one of you miscreants threw that in there?
As you can see, it actually says it was edited by Matt.
Who's this Matt guy you're talking about? I don't know.
Muad'Dib did it.
So as we're closing out, let's go around the panel and let's ask, starting with JR, for things that they haven't. We've talked about this a little, but what is the one thing, if they said, what do you want us to write next? What is the one thing that they haven't covered in Galaxy's Edge that you want them to write?
Only one? Oh man, that's cruel.
No.
So there's several standout characters we would like more of, but when Rex was still on the edge, they had a scene where he went on to a ship that was in disrepair that had a company of mercs on it that were doing their thing. I think that culture could be interesting.
Right on. How about you, Q? Hit me.
I want Ravi's story. I want to know how he got where he ended up in the 100. So yes, that's that. I want Ravi's story.
So you don't think he was just a crazy AI that developed from a savage ship?
Dang it! I want more.
Muad'Dib, another Matt. What do you got?
Aside from the hardest life in the military ever, which is a forklift operator like me, it's very that should be 5 books away. Combat controllers. I said it before. I'll say it again. I want something about combat controllers.
Right on.
Yeah.
Running.
Major fail. Say it.
Probably something more along the lines of Tyrus Rex's and Sullust's backstory together, because it was touched on in Savage Wars, but just seeing more of that fleshed out would be really nice.
Right on. Sadiq says, yes, Ravi's story. No, he was in the Quantum.
Way to drop up that spoiler, Badger. How could you?
That was Sadiq. That wasn't me.
Jesus. Oh, God, mate. Oh.
Swordfish.
Yeah, so JR already stole my pick, which was the Scoundrels one, but I actually thought of another one. I think it'd be really cool to get some more Best of Us stuff following up, but I know that's not necessarily full on Jason and Nick. So yeah, for Jason and Nick, I'd say the Scoundrels and criminals stuff.
Right on. So with that, we're going to call it a podcast. What'd you do?
No, I was just laughing at Rookie.
Oh, with his ODST helmet on.
Yep.
Yeah, we try not to judge. It gets harder and harder every day.
Look at that nerd.
Yeah, you did. You didn't go ahead and ask me what I wanted to see.
Yeah. Matt, come on, go get your helmet on.
Now we're getting helmet wars.
Not the safety one, Matt. Matt, you don't need the safety one this time.
Well,
You're not going outside.
Rookie, what are you looking to see?
In the meantime, I'd like to see more kill teams. More kill teams.
Gotcha.
Although, if I had to actually be totally honest, I would love to see more of Lana. I want to know why Lana was in that team, was in Carter's team. Yeah, I want to know what her story is.
Right on. And with that, we're going to sign out for the Galaxy's Edge podcast. We thank you very much for spending an evening with us and with the Doom Trooper. And we'll catch you next time around the Edge.